Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm going to start once I have more people. So do call and remind them, please. Thank you. Okay, let's start. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Nama saya Adrina and I am your Thermomix cooking advisor. Alhamdulillah, that's how we should start introducing ourselves to everybody when we start a cooking show. Okay, usually before the MCO, we actually run cooking shows at our studio in Sunway Damansara. But Alhamdulillah, because of the MCO, all of us are actually what do you call this? All of us are actually able to and should take this opportunity. I'm also sharing this and informing all my team members because I'm a team manager, and Alhamdulillah, I have 21 advisors under me, and today what we shared yesterday with Alia making pandan kaya is part of our activities that we have to do. When I did my agak-agak gula Melaka, I had many people who PM me who said that, oh, now that we see your show, we know how to do it. So sometimes, even though we have read the book, we can read, and if you are like me, I learn from actually watching as well. So I can probably read 10 times and I may not know what I actually have to do. Okay, so sometimes reading may not bring the same understanding as what it's supposed to be. Jadi when we have our cooking show, we can actually show you how to do the things, how to do the process, and how to actually make it easier for you all to understand. Okay, so I'm doing something very, very simple. It's Dadih. I had somebody who asked what is Dadih. So if you Google Dadih, and if you Google and say what is Dadih in English, some actually say curd. Basically, it's milk pudding. I've seen many recipes because I've actually wanted to make Dadih from the day I started having a Thermomix, and that was 6 years ago. And I never came to doing it then because every time I look at the recipe, they keep on saying condensed milk, and condensed milk. So I thought, okay lah, I don't want to do condensed milk. But I have found this recipe that does not use condensed milk. But yeah, it does use other milk, but I can tolerate that. I know what is in the ingredients in my Dadih anyway, and Alhamdulillah, I have managed to get it to be as close as to the Dadih that I usually get my sister to buy or myself when I go to Pasar Malam, or in this case Pasar Ramadan, since we don't have Pasar Ramadan this year. So I thought, why not? Because I love Dadih. My son loves Dadih so much. So previously, I used to buy a lot. And keep it in the fridge for him. But Alhamdulillah, since I started making Dadih, he's had his constant supply all the time. depending on how rajin the mother is. Okay, jadi you can refer. I actually like the recipe from Sirap Limau. That's very simple. It just use milk, which is similar. It's just 1 liter of milk, and then they had gula, and I think that's about it. And agar-agar, of course, agar-agar. Okay, so I'm sharing with you my recipe. I'm gonna type it later, but the main ingredient is agar-agar. So agar-agar tali, how much? How much is just 1 genggam like this? It's just 1 genggam, okay? And when you weigh the genggam, because we've weighed it, okay, you have to see the fantastic feature of the Thermomix. Now I'm gonna go to the mode stage. Okay, here we have scale, we have dough, we have turbo, we have pre-clean, kettle, blend, slow cook, sous vide, fermentation, rice cooker, and one which is thicken. It's called thicken, and that is the mode that I'm going to use today to make our dadih. However, those who have TM5, I'll also give you the recipe. Okay, you can actually do it without the thicken, but again, I like to address my friends who are like me, malas, mama malas masak, and too busy, so-called too busy, that we can't cook. Jadi I love to share things that are super duper easy, and we make use of what Thermomix can help us. Okay, jadi I'm just gonna rinse this. Okay, I'm just gonna rinse that, and then I'm gonna share with you a dadih that I made yesterday. Okay, I don't know how to, let me check whether you can see this. It's very it wobbles, so it's actually a very nice consistency, and it's only made available. It only became this consistency after I reduced the amount of agar that I use. Yeah, okay. Jadi what are the ingredients? The ingredients is the agar-agar. It's actually 5 grams if you use the weighing scale. Okay, I'll take this out. Okay, I always use this in my bowl to weigh stuff. I can touch there and it becomes 0. Yeah. Let's see, this is wet, but it should be weighted before it's wet, yeah? Okay. When it's wet, it's okay, it's about 17 grams, but it is actually 5 grams only, okay? So, if you want to weigh how much agar-agar tali that you need to use, it's 5 grams. Now, if you use the powder agar-agar, so the agar-agar powder would need to be a quarter of the total content. So I don't know how much, what's the weight of the whole agar-agar powder, but it should only be a quarter. Okay, if not, it would be quite hard. The taste is sedap, but it's not wobbly. It's not so wobbly. Okay, so we want 5 grams of agar-agar tali. 1 liter of susu, 500 grams of water, 300 grams of milk powder. I was recommended to use every day, so I'm using every day. And it tastes the same like the one I frequently buy, so every day. And sugar It's up to you. I only use 100 grams. I like it at 100 grams. It's not so sweet and it's just sedap. And there is a special recipe where we use, okay, 200 grams. This is 200 grams, so the small one. 200 grams of coffee meat. And half a teaspoon of salt. Okay, so that's the recipe. Senang kan? I want to take photo. Okay, let's go to it. Okay. The function that I use right now is going to be the scale function. Okay. And I'm going to start with the agar-agar tali. So it's supposed to be 5 grams, yeah? So I just put it in here. I forgot to show, I wanted to show the condition of my bowl. Okay, so now it's just got the agar-agar tali. Yeah, and then kita isi air. So air is 500 grams. This is filtered water. Oh, tak apa sikit. 505 grams. 500 grams water. Sugar 100 grams. Touch there. This was gula kasar and I just blended a bit so that it's not so kasar, and I use it for my daily cooking. Isn't that fantastic? Can you actually see that it's 100? Okay, the screen can be seen very well. The screen can be seen very well, alhamdulillah. Okay, now we add the other stuff. Okay, I'll add the coffee mate. Oops, forgot to put 200 grams. But basically this, it says 200 grams net, so about 200. But you know what? It's always like that. It's always less than the actual 200. It's probably somewhere in there. Okay? 200 grams. And 300 grams of milk powder. Anyway, this is how I usually use, cook. I get it straight from the sauce. So you don't have to actually use other stuff. Okay? Yeah, 300. It's empty. And then kita punya Dutch Lady milk. This is 1 liter. Okay, 0. Now this is the best because I'm putting everything in. If you notice, TM5 users don't do things like this. That's a 1/4 teaspoon salt. I'm just gonna put it in there. So yep, I'm going through the list. I've covered everything. Okay, look at that. It's at the maximum point. It's at maximum, yeah. It would be at maximum. So don't do more than this. Don't pandai-pandai nak buat double the batch. This is the batch that I use and it's the maximum. because when you masak nanti, it's gonna go up and bubble a bit. Okay, so I've put everything in. Now, if you were not using the thicken mode, that we're going to use today, you would probably have to do the water, the agar-agar and the sugar. Kita masak dulu 5 to 10 minutes lah, 10 minutes, 100 degrees Celsius. So you masak the gula, the agar-agar and the water first, okay? And subsequent to that, you can add on the rest, another 10 minutes at 90 degrees, speed 4. Tadi kita buat speed 3, speed 4. The other one pun speed 3, speed 4. So that would be the speed, and that would be the temperature and the timing for the dadih if you don't use the thicken mode. Now, what is the thicken mode? So, if you touch the thicken mode here, it goes to the screen and it actually says approximately 12 minutes. It's incredible. I don't think I've tried anything that goes beyond 12 minutes. So, macam tadi, if we had used the other method, that means the manual method where you have to actually select the time, I mentioned about 10 plus 10, so about 20 minutes to get this thing done. And the temperature would be about 100 degrees and speed 3 or 4. So, in this screen, if you notice, it says 12 and here is 80, and then the other gambar, the thicken mode, where you just have to turn the dial. But there is also an eye here for information. So we touch the eye and it says thicken, used to make savory sauces. That means béarnaise sauce, bechamel and sweet sauces, custards or curds. So which means you can actually use this to make all these sauces, yeah. And the temperature guide, they say use 80 degrees Celsius when you're using egg. Okay, so when you do custard, you use 80 degrees Celsius. Or as thickening agent, and 100 degrees when you have flour or corn flour is added. So I have milk powder, so I'm going to use 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then it says the consistency will depend on the ingredients added and the proportions. So refer to cookie dough for recipes. Jadi, just understand this. Whenever you go to the modes, they actually have eye kat situ. So touch the eye to see what you have to do. Okay. Yeah. Even in pre-cleaning, they actually mention how much water to be added. So that's 80. You touch that and you just turn, and it goes to 100 degrees Celsius. So there's choices between 100 and 80 only for thicken mode. So we're going to use 100. Okay, so we've got everything in there, and all I need to do, as you see, I didn't even bother to kacau. It's good to kacau, but I'm just showing you, even without kacau, that's how lazy I am. I just do this. And for the next 12 minutes, inshallah, it's gonna do everything by itself. And I'm going to show you what happens after that. Even during this, because I have experience that you may get the inside to come out, bubbly, comes out like this. So what happens if that happens? Yeah, because kita tak nak dia overspill. So this is another thing which we actually mention also when we do unboxing. Yeah, so sometimes there is a requirement for you to do this. This is to avoid splatter as well. Yeah, so you tutup macam ni. So, kalau ada masakan banyak, even nasi, sometimes when you masak nasi, you will see it, you know, air buih dia naik atas. So this is what you do. You actually put the varoma dish on top like this, and then it will avoid spilling, because it will just go up. Okay, so this is what you do. So siapa yang tak pernah tahu, this is what you do to avoid overspilling. Now, if you're not using the basket, the simmering basket, this is also another way to do it, but it doesn't protect as much as if you do that. So if your ingredient is dry, probably this is quite okay. But the best, this is also sometimes in the recipe they will actually say put basket, simmering basket on top. So this is what you do, okay? Because it would allow the air to go in, and if you want it to be, if you want your content to dry, this is also how you do it, okay? Or if not, you do it in this way, okay? So when you do this, it avoids splatter. Okay, now for the next 10 to 11 minutes, I'm going to tutup. It's actually very nice. It's actually just turning, but with the thicker mode, they actually do their own stuff. So now it's just going around, probably at speed 2. It looks like a speed 2 to me, you know, 2 or 3. But they'll be doing other stuff at the same time. So the bancho macam washing machine tu pun will happen during this period, as and when. Okay. So while that happens, let's go through what Thermomix can do. Let me check. Can I cover everything? Okay. We say one Thermomix does it all. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. You have to experience this. Look at that. That must be going at probably speed 6, 5 or 6. And that happens because we have full content. You notice is now the liquid was up to 2 liters. So this will happen. Okay. And a lot of people who just got their Thermomix actually got apa ni? They were surprised. Okay. And my maid until today gets very nervous when this happens. But just for your information, Thermomix is strong enough. See, it's quite okay. It's hardy. It's a very hardy machine. Okay, it's a very hardy machine. So it's okay to be moving like that. Just stand by, because sometimes if you don't have a very strong surface, it can wobble. It can wobble. Just like when you're kneading your dough. Okay, it's okay to move like that. It's fine. Okay, so it's moving. Let that take a while. Just complete. So, can you imagine if you're on the stove? Because I read how to do it manually. You have to actually stir, and you have to also take care of the temperature so that it's not very strong, not very hot. So it's medium stirring. So imagine all that work that you can actually do without right now. Okay. If I'm not talking during my live show, I'm actually just responding to my Facebook or to my WhatsApp or doing other things. So this is how we can actually benefit from Thermomix, especially when you're as busy as I am. Busy people who keep on saying they have no time to cook. I never had time to cook, but I try to cook. Okay, right? Yeah, let's go back. It can blend. It's a blender. Okay, it can chop. It's a food processor. It can chop. It can grind. Okay, it can grind. It can grind, yeah. And then it's also a kettle, which means it's a kettle, which means you don't need to have a kettle. You only need to have one of these. All right. It is a steamer. Okay, when you want to steam something, you can either steam it in here, or you can also steam it in the varoma dish. Okay, you can steam, you can also cook. So those who have Thermomix have noticed that you can actually do what? Rendang, boleh masak dalam ni. You can also masak your asam pedas, your curry, your kurma. So you can actually do a lot of things in here. I wanted to bring my my chicken stock, but I'll show you my anchovy seasoning. I used to do this before, but bau dia kuat sangat, so I don't do it anymore. But look at that powder. This is hasil daripada grinding with the Thermomix, yeah. And this has been around for quite some time because we dry it properly. It still has very good smell, Yeah, very strong smell, and it's still there, and it's still usable until now. So good stuff. Okay, so you can do grinding. So you can also grind your coffee. So if you are a coffee drinker, you can actually grind your beans. So you grind your beans. After that, you masak. So it's your coffee maker. So you boil you open your coffee in here. Okay, you can also whip. So whipping is not a problem in here. Kak Rosini, when she first met with us, she had some egg whites in her fridge, and alhamdulillah we managed to show how easily it was to whip into meringue the 4 egg whites that she gave us. Okay, so minced meat. Can you imagine not buying minced meat but making it yourself? So in this book, the basic cookbook, it actually addresses all this. Okay, so it's here. I'll probably, if I have time, I'll go through it. So you can slow cook and sous vide. So sous vide and slow cook are 2 different devices or gadgets that you need usually, but you don't need to, because the Thermomix can also do that. The pre-clean function, the TM5 that has the dongle, can now actually do the pre-clean as well. We have sugar stages, high temperature, kneading, weighing, and stirring. High temperature and sugar stages are not on the modes. It's actually accessible via the Cookie-Doo. So once you have a Cookie-Doo account, then you can choose recipes, what we call guided recipes. So guided recipes to actually access high temperature and sugar stages. I love the high temperature mode because, again, I'm a lazy mama, lazy cook. So when I'm a lazy cook, I love using what Thermomix can do in terms of robotic. I just put everything in there, dump everything in there, and it's cooked. So those who are like me, I tell you, this is a superb machine. Okay, so high temperature and sugar stages. The story how I met my other advisor, Lisa. So Lisa is a baker. So when my other advisor, Kak Rosna, wanted to go and meet Lisa, because she's a baker, I said, Kak, let's do lollipop. And I brought the lollipop mold, and I just brought, I think, corn syrup at that point of time. I said the rest she should have in her baking shop. So we quickly did it, but because we were in a baking shop, she had everything else, and she had her hand, which is not like mine, you know. I'm like everything in and that's it. But she's a baker. She does very fine work. So when you just tell her what to do, she comes out with beautiful creations. So that's how I met Lisa, and I think she fell in love when we did the lollipop. And you can also listen to her how she loves the machine, because it has helped her tremendously. Okay, so we have another 7 minutes, but you notice that from going very strongly, it is now soft. It's now softer. Okay, I can also notice that some liquid is just out, but it's not bad, so I'm just going to leave it like that. So it has a stirring function. We always do in our cooking show mihun goreng in our so-called blender, kan, in our Thermomix. Now, I had this show in Kota Baru, whereby the audience, one of the audience, the moment I nak masukkan my broccoli and carrots, she looked at me, she said, hancur lah, it will hancur. I said, no, it will not hancur at all. That's what my Thermomix can do. So every time I wanted to do something, she would say, hancur lah, rosak lah, inilah. She was just, it was just out of her mind, you know. And that is why we actually want you to experience cooking in real life. Okay, now it's one part, but you have not tasted what we have cooked. Jadi, if you know anybody at all who actually have not seen Thermomix, get them to experience Thermomix cooking. Now, if it's not MCO, we can actually let you taste it as well, because tasting food is a different thing altogether. But before that, we just want to show you how easy it is. Okay, so the other, weighing and kneading. So kneading function, I've been making bread. I never make bread. One thing about me, because I'm a lazy cook, I like to do things that I usually buy. So I make tomato sauce, I make my jams, because I can do it so easily. Similarly, like this Dadih, can you imagine I'm talking to you right now and everything is actually done by the Thermomix. Now, a lot of things and cooking can actually be done this way. Of course, you have the kuih Melayu and all that, which requires a little bit of skill, and that's not a problem, because the other part, to get the dough or to get the pastry or to get whatever done, can easily be done. You know, they've been doing this, I can't remember the name, lompat tikam and whatever not. And I've seen many of my friends who actually never cook those dishes, and they're doing it this MCO because they have a Thermomix. Okay, I also understand those who don't have are also doing it. But can you imagine those who have Thermomix and they are not cooks? They are not cooks. They are baking bread. They're doing everything, and I'm just surprised at what they can do. And I am also surprised at myself, because every day, there's no days that I don't use my Thermomix. Every day I use my Thermomix, and as easy as just using the scale. Lately, I've been reviving my sourdough starter. It was hibernating for 9 months. I never took care of it. One was totally dry and had a black mold layer on it, and the other one had liquid. So totally two different outcomes. And ever since then, I think today is day 3. I've been like a mom. I didn't do well last night. I fell asleep because while doing my bread dough, my test bread, so I fell asleep. I couldn't wait. So that is the thing about sourdough. Sourdough is very much like a baby, and if you are lazy, it's something that you have to work a little bit harder on. Okay, so that is about sourdough. I'll be sharing in my Facebook about what happened this morning before this show. All right. Okay, so we've covered most of the cooking ability in here. Oh, you can also emulsify. That's why you can also do mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is so easy. It's like 1.5 minutes. And my colleagues and I, we like to frequent the Arab restaurant near our office, and whenever we eat there, we always ask for tum, which is the garlic sauce. And garlic sauce can cost up to 5 ringgit per small sauce dish. Just the garlic dip, you know, it's 5 ringgit. And when I first had my Thermomix 6 years ago, that was one of the things I made as well, tum. And the other day, my cousin asked for garlic sauce, and I gave it to her, and she did it. So simple stuff like that, which costs money, can be done easily with your Thermomix. And that's why one of the benefits is you actually do save. Yeah, you do save. And the other feature that I want to highlight here is, if you are into doing business, I have a friend who's actually providing food in her condominium, in her apartment, because it's MCO, and we acknowledge that there are people who do not cook, but they're staying at home. So those who can cook are actually supplying food. Wouldn't it be nice if a lot of things can actually be done by our German technology, our baby here? Okay, so that's another reason why you should get the Thermomix. approximately 1 minute left. Okay, I wanted to show you the basic. The basic cookbook is the book that you get with the machine. Okay, right at the back, they actually tell you these resources here. They actually tell you things like grating. So grating started here. See the chopping functions. So they give you a lot of example dekat sini. So people, those who are new to this, do look at the book because they actually give you the time and speed required and the amount that you need to do stuff like this. Okay? Okay, that's, oh, it's done, Okay. When the alarm sounds, all you need to do is either touch the screen or touch the knob, push the knob like that, and it stops. Okay? So let me just quickly go through the book. That's grating. Okay, so it's at the back for BCB TM6, it's at the back. If it's BCB TM5, it's in front. Okay, so they give you the criteria for chopping, crunching, mincing, and the rest. Grinding and milling. So if you want to grind nuts, at what time and what speed, at what amount, time and speed. I love this. This is so technical. I just love it so much. They actually say icing sugar, you know, so go through it. Look at that. Steaming. If you want to steam fish, if it's 2-3 pieces, at how many grams each, the time needed and the speed to use. Okay, so all this is right at the back at page 358. Okay, now we understand that some of you have not received this book, and the reason is because the office took it out before we shipped the machine to you. They did that because, as you know, Thermomix TM6 was just recently launched last year, but we say recently launched because until today, even though it was launched in March of 2019, the market is still more demand than supply. Okay, even though the factory has actually taken in a lot of part-time workers to cover the demand. Okay, I want to show. This is, you see, okay, this is the Dadih. Now, some people, they actually sieve the Dadih, but I actually don't mind the bubbles. I don't mind, so because it's not dirty or anything. And what I do, I have this tray, okay, with all this. You see? Okay, I have the tray with all this. I'm going to get my helper to help me pour the Dadih in here. Okay, so this is Dadih. Because after this, I want to show you the pre-clean function. Masukkan. Saya nak cuci. Okay, so let me continue with the book. Okay, let's go back to the book. Okay, I was going to say to you, yeah. So those who have not received it, it's because we wanted to get the machine over to you as soon as possible. Now, the machine comes either in the English book or the book that is in Chinese. At that point of time, there were more machine with Chinese book sent from Europe, from France to us. But the demand, when there were more demand for English books, we wanted to make sure that the machine gets to you early. So they removed the Chinese book, and the English version of the book is actually being sent to you right now. So you'll be receiving it soon. Okay, that's for those who have not got the book. Okay, and then I think last month we had another batch that had the Chinese book in the box, and again because it was MCO and we wanted to make sure that the machine gets to you fast, the office had no time to actually remove the book, so whoever sent to you, we actually got your advisors to inform you that you have a Chinese book, even though you wanted an English book. So we asked you to save and keep the book nicely, and we will make arrangement for the English book to be sent to you, but we also need the Chinese book to be returned to us back. Okay, so that's with regards to the basic cookbook. The Mother's Day is coming very, very soon. I've just got a message. If you want to make sure that the Mother's Day gift get to your mothers on time, order now. Order now. If you want the Thermomix TM6 to be delivered to your mothers on time for Mother's Day, order now. Best to order today. Okay? Paling lambat tomorrow, but best to order today. So that's what you should do if you want to give the Thermomix to your mom as your, and not only your mom, to your wives, because they are mothers to your children. So do that now, okay? So I say that because we have stock. Stock is here right now, but it's again very limited, and the reason is because our factory in Germany and in France is closed because of the COVID until they plan to close it and open it only in July. We have mentioned that in our earlier communication to you, and the stocks that we have right now actually left Europe before they closed. Jadi it only arrived here this week. Okay, so your Thermomix, those who have actually purchased, your Thermomix TM6 is on the way to you. Alright? Okay, this is the look after I've taken out the Dadih. I'm now going to show you the pre-clean function. Okay, to do the pre-clean, this is the mode. You touch the pre-clean mode. There's also information here. If you look at this screen, it actually says approximately 5 minutes, and they just say please turn split selector to start. So I just have to turn and it starts automatically. But there's also an information here, and it says pre-clean, pour a maximum of 1 liter water and a little drop of washing up liquid of 50 grams of vinegar in mixing bowl. Okay, so that's how you should clean it. But I'm just going to use water today. There is actually a sign in the bowl. There is actually a sign in the bowl. Let's see whether you can see it. There, see? Maximum, that's 2 liters, that's 1 liter, and that's 0.5. So even though you don't necessarily have to wait, you can actually use your eyes and know the amount of water that is required. Okay, just by looking at it. So the design of the bowl is such. Okay, in this at this junction, I've just put water. Just to cover the blade. Okay, and when you cover the blade, it's just slightly under 1 liter. So I cover it, and you want to cover. Look at the valve there. You just do it like this. Like that. Okay, so it you can also read kat sini what it says. You know, they will say here, attention, please use the measuring cup to prevent. That means when you're doing pre-cleaning, do not remove the measuring cup. This is the measuring cup. Do not remove it because the water will splash out. So you have to make sure that it's on. Okay, and do not use too much detergent or soap because it will bubble. Alright, so they only say a drop. So in my case, I don't do that because it's pre-cleaning. It will just help me clean it, and then we can do thorough cleaning it at the sink. So again, they just say approximately 5 minutes, and just said please turn speed selector to start. So I just turn it. Whether it's 5 minutes or less will depend on the amount of dirt. The machine at this point is actually identifying the amount of dirt that is in here. Okay, during this pre-cleaning, it is not just going around, it's not just doing washing machine, but it also introduce heat. So if you have bowls that have minyak or something like that, see, the washing machine function is there, so it will help clean, help you clean the bowl easily. I'm going to use this big bowl to show you the amount of the water that is out from here. Okay, again, after every activity the alarm will sound. Jadi we just need to either touch the screen or touch this. So I touch the screen this time. I'll show you the water. Nampak? So all you need to do is rinse. It's quite clean. Those who work with chocolate will actually appreciate this very much. Lisa told me so. She said, oh, it's so helpful. Okay? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So I've got my, this is my Dadih. Let me check whether you can see it. Okay, so my Dadih is all filled. What we do is I usually tutup dengan tudung saji to just make sure that it is cool. So once it's cool, I put it in the fridge. Okay, so this would supply my son for a few days. Sometimes tak juga. He'll take one for buka puasa after he's had his main dish, or not after puasa, not buka puasa. After his solat as a, what do you call that? Yang mori. Okay, he has one then, and he also has one masa sahur. So it's a very easy dish, comfort food, easy for lazy mums. Okay, jadi thank you very much. I hope that the 45 minutes that you've been with me help you to have another one recipe, easy recipe, and something that siapa yang nak jual dekat kondominium pun, apparently one bekas tu is like RM2. So you can actually calculate the amount of ingredients that cost and sell it. Okay, so many opportunities for you to do a lot of things, this MCO, and I don't encourage you to actually do something very difficult, but Dadih is so simple. You can actually do it while doing something else. So I do simple stuff. I do things that make me happy. This makes me happy. This makes my son happy. Okay, so selamat berpuasa. InsyaAllah buka makanan yang sihat-sihat, buka makanan homemade, and kita jumpa lagi di siaran akan datang. Please support my other advisors in our Team AA activity, e-demo activity that we are doing. It helps us get closer to you. It helps us to also learn new skill. A lot of them are still very nervous when I asked them to join me, they said tunggu. So I'm giving them time. Some of them don't want to show their face, but inshallah, once they are used to it, they would join me as well. And again, as I said, love your feedback. Give us encouraging feedback, because it's not easy to actually stand in front here talking to ourselves. Jadi see you again tomorrow. I think Azura will be on, and the rest of the people, I will update everybody. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.